Up to now, the Fantastic Four have had a bit of a rough go at the movies. Now that the property's in the hands of Marvel Studios, does First Steps turn out to the skid and find the magic of Marvel's first family? Let's dig into how it lands this rocket. If it wasn't already clear, spoilers ahead! Despite the title, First Steps jumps ahead to 4 years after Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Johnny Storm, and Ben Grimm go on the space adventure that exposes them to cosmic radiation and gives them their powers. The team also resides on Earth 828, not the mainline MCU's Earth 616. Sue reveals that she's pregnant, and wouldn't you know it, that's when Silver Surfer shows up to let Earth know it's doomed to be devoured by Galactus. In hopes of saving Earth, the Fantastic Four journey to a distant planet to meet with Big G face to face. Galactus tries to cut a deal. He says he'd be willing to skip their world if they'll hand over Reed and Sue's unborn child. They refuse and barely escape with their lives.
He asked too high a price.
In the process of that escape, Sue gives birth to Franklin Richards. Upon arriving back on Earth, they tell everyone they need to find another way to stop Galactus, even though everyone else seems fine with sacrificing Franklin. As he so often does, Reed finds another way. He comes up with a plan to teleport Earth. All of humanity comes together to build teleporters around the globe so that they can move the planet out of Galactus's reach. It's all for naught though. The Silver Surfer destroys every teleportation pad on Earth except for the one in New York City. Johnny tracks her down and explains that he knows where she came from and how she made a sacrifice like the one being asked of them to save her own planet and daughter. Fully aware of the mass death she's brought to countless worlds, the Surfer flies away. Reed comes up with a new plan to, using Franklin as bait, lure Galactus to the last remaining teleportation pad to send him to the furthest reaches of the universe. But Galactus is a crafty one. With everyone in New York hiding away in Subterranea with Moleman, the Devourer rampages through the city and grabs Franklin. Sue summons all of her strength to push Galactus toward the teleportation pad using her invisible force fields. It actually works, as Ben prevents Galactus from grabbing hold of any buildings. Reed rescues Franklin from the Devourer's grip, but Galactus doesn't go down that easy. He claws his way back through the portal just before it closes. Johnny blasts towards Galactus to try to push him through the gateway, knowing he'll end up going through too. That's when the Silver Surfer makes her grand gesture, colliding with Johnny to knock him out of the way. She's the one who knocks Galactus through the portal, going through it with him. Sue's overexertion takes so much out of her that Reed can't feel her pulse. The team gathers around, weeping for their fallen matriarch. But when Reed places Franklin on Sue's chest, the baby boy uses his immense power to revive his mother. Earth is saved, and 1 year later, the Fantastic Four remain beloved heroes.
Our city, our planet, owe a debt to these intrepid souls.
It's an MCU movie, so of course, First Steps has both a mid-credit scene and post-credit scene. They're both worth sticking around for. The mid-credit scene jumps ahead to Franklin being a talkative 4-year-old. Sue steps away to grab a book when she hears an odd sound. She returns to find a cloaked figure crouching down next to Franklin. It's more than clear this is Dr. Doom. He has removed his metal mask, but we don't get to see Robert Downey Jr.'s face. In the build-up to being the big bad in Avengers Doomsday, it's clear Doom has a vested interest in Franklin's vast powers. After a few more minutes of credits, First Steps offers up a classic comedy tag for its post-credit scene. We see the intro for this universe's Fantastic Four cartoon series. The 1960s style animation is a delight as a theme song races through each member's powers. The team's robot companion Herbie turns a TV set off. While it doesn't set up any future films, it's a neat sequence to drive home the 60s aesthetic. If there's one central theme to take away from the Fantastic Four First Steps, it's that family conquers all. The film makes a big point to show how connected the Fantastic Four are, down to eating dinner together every Sunday night at the same time. Galactus aims to tear this close-knit group apart, and even though the entire world wants Sue and Reed to give up their child to save the planet, they know there must be another way. Being a mother also factors into the Silver Surfer's change of heart. Having a daughter is a pretty big change for the character. Norrin Radd is the Silver Surfer in the main Marvel Comics continuity, and this surfer, Charlotte Ball, is the lover he left behind on his home planet. They don't usually have a child, but this version does. She offered herself as Galactus's herald to save her daughter. She knows that she's put countless other families through what she went through, and worse. So providing the final push to get Galactus through the wormhole is her way to make amends. Likewise, Johnny keeps his promise.
We're gonna be the best uncles ever.
He does everything he can to prove that. He's fully prepared to lay down his own life to protect his nephew. The MCU has gone through 6 phases over the past 17 years. It's getting a little long in the tooth, to be real. So, Fantastic Four First Steps taking place in an entirely different reality and mostly being an entirely self-contained story is kind of a breath of fresh air. And that's not just us saying that. Director Matt Shakman says so too. Shakman told Tech Radar what a blessing it was to not have to worry about future Marvel projects when putting First Steps together, saying, "You don't need to see other Marvel movies or shows to appreciate it. There are no Easter eggs, there are no other heroes. It's just about them, their world, and their story." Yes, there is the post-credit scene that leads up to the FF appearing in Avengers Doomsday, but Shakman apparently didn't have anything to do with that. According to Total Film, the Russo brothers, the directors of Doomsday, helmed the scene featuring Doom. Of course, Shakman is well aware that Marvel's first family will eventually join up with the Avengers. He said, "They'll eventually join up with Earth's mightiest heroes, and that'll be fun to see." But again, that's for someone else to figure out. The FF appeared to arrive in the 616 in the post-credit scene in Thunderbolts, with a peculiar spaceship showing up with the Fantastic Four's emblem on the side. Total Film notes that the Russos also directed that scene, so it definitely seems like it's up to them to put all the pieces together. It's unclear if there was really an alternate post-credit scene for Fantastic Four First Steps. Maybe it didn't get past the scripting stage. Maybe one was shot but was cut, and we'll see it in the eventual Blu-ray release. All that's known for sure as of the making of this video is that someone known to have snagged some Marvel scoops in the past says there was one. The account My Time to Shine Hello posted on X. For Fantastic Four First Steps, they originally planned a post-credit scene with Chris Evans as Nomad coming to warn them. Then they replaced it with one featuring Doom. Now, in the final version, there are 2 post-credit scenes. Guess what they are? Of course, we'll have to take this rumor with a grain of salt, but guess what they are definitely implies both scenes would end up in the movie, and nothing with Evans as Nomad is anywhere to be found. We'll just have to wait and see if any evidence of such a scene being planned or shot comes to light down the road. For his part, Evans remains adamant he's not in Avengers Doomsday, and Marvel hasn't listed him as a cast member. Yet the rumor mill churns on, with some insisting that Evans will return as a villain. Naturally, Marvel needs to keep a few surprises hidden until Doomsday comes out near the end of 2026, so don't expect the studio to go out of its way to spill the beans. That said, it's going to be hard to keep the appearance of such a big name a secret right up until the film's release, if it is indeed true. Given that the FF almost assuredly traveled to the 616 at the end of Thunderbolts and their appearance in Doomsday has been officially confirmed, a lot of fans were worried that Earth 828 maybe wouldn't make it to the end of First Steps.
Are we safe?
I don't know.
Yet at the film's end, their Earth is safe and sound. For now, anyway. But then there's the Doom of it all. It wasn't clear if he'd reside in the 616 or the FF's Earth, but that post-credit scene shows that Doom, or at least a Doom, is on the same world as that accursed Richards and his family. Again, Robert Downey Jr.'s face is conspicuously not shown, so it'll be interesting to see just what drives them all to another universe, and what they'll do when they get there. A quote from Shakman had some fans thinking Reed would lead the Avengers. The director said, "He goes from being the nerdy scientist who's locked away in the lab to the husband and the father who'd do anything to protect his family to the guy who's leading the Avengers." But Pedro Pascal, who plays Reed, walked that statement back, saying it had been taken out of context. He told Entertainment Weekly, "Matt was talking about a Reed Richards that, within the comics of the Avengers, the Fantastic Four are brought into the Avengers and Reed is commissioned to lead a mission. But that is different than what we're doing." So, was Shakman's statement a reference to an unnamed comic story where Reed leads the Avengers? Or did Pascal have to provide some quick cover for a slip-up? We'll have our answer in December 2026. Like Galactus, Doom seems to want to harness Franklin's outsized power to his own ends, and he has the ability to go wherever he wants, given that he can get inside the high-tech Baxter building undetected. Who knows, perhaps the Doom we see at the end of First Steps is from the 616, or some other universe, and he has traveled to Earth 828 just for Franklin. This is all just a theory, of course, but Doom kidnapping Franklin would be a natural segue into getting all of Earth's 616 heroes involved in Dr. Doom's story. Perhaps Doom travels to 616 with Franklin first. The Fantastic Four can then follow and literally become the harbingers of Doom, telling their new allies about his plans and recruiting the new Avengers, as well as any other heroes heroes around to help them. Whatever the details, it's pretty clear that the larger Doom story will supersede any direct Fantastic Four sequel. Doomsday hits in December 2026, and its follow-up, Avengers Secret Wars, is set for release 1 year after that. The only other confirmed Marvel Studios movie in the meantime is Spider-Man Brand New Day, which is set for July 2026. The FF could appear in that, but we wouldn't bank on it. Another as-yet untitled film is on the docket for July 2027, and it's a safe bet that the mystery movie isn't a Fantastic Four sequel. If anything, it would make more sense for it to be Doctor Strange 3. Either way, Marvel is heading toward the end of the multiverse saga with Secret Wars, and that could have a big impact on Marvel's first family. On July 20th, Variety published a lengthy interview with Marvel Studios head Kevin Feige, where he brought up how Secret Wars will lead to a soft reset of the MCU continuity. He said, "Reboot is a scary word. Reboot can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. Reset, singular timeline. We're thinking along those lines. The concept of a singular timeline certainly suggests that whatever happens at the end of Secret Wars, there will be one primary reality going forward, with no more multiversal shenanigans. This would allow the Fantastic Four to slot into place within the mainline MCU, so that they can regularly appear alongside other heroes like the Avengers and X-Men. It'd also mean that a true First Step sequel probably isn't coming until 2028 at the earliest.